Okay, let's try this one. This one's a little funky looking, but remember, the first thing we have to do is set one side equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 1 over x minus 2 from this side, and we're going to subtract this from this side, minus 1 over x minus 2. And what we wind up with is 1 over x minus 7 minus 1 over x minus 2 is less than or equal to, and then this minus itself is equal to 0. Okay? The numerator cannot equal 0 because the numerator does not have any x's in it. If there's no x's in the numerator, it can't equal 0. Okay? And so what we're going to do now is we're just going to identify the critical values based on the zeros of the denominator. So x minus 7 equals 0. In fact, one way you could do this is actually say that x minus 7 can't equal 0. And so if I add 7 here and add 7 here, I get x cannot equal 7. Okay? And that gives us a critical value because x can't equal 7. But it's the same thing as saying x equals 7. But let's go with that over here with x minus 2. Well, we know that x minus 2 cannot equal 0. And so if we add 2 and add 2, we get x cannot equal 2. So our two critical values are 7 and 2. So we'll draw our horizontal line, negative infinity, positive infinity. We'll put a 2 here and a 7 here. And then we're going to plug in something smaller than 2. How about 0? If I put a 0 here, I get 1 over negative 7, which is the same thing as negative 1/7. Then I'll have minus, I'm going to put that in parentheses. I'll put a 0 here, so that's 1 over negative 2, which is the same thing as negative 1/2. Okay? So I have negative 1/7 minus negative 1/2. So that's negative 1/7 plus 1/2. I need a common denominator, so I'll multiply 2 over 2. So I'll have negative 2 over 14 plus 7 times the top, 7 times the bottom. That's 7 over 14. And negative 2 over 14 plus 7 over 14 is 5 over 14. So that's a positive number. Okay? You can also do this with a calculator. Okay? Let's plug in, I don't know, how about 3? We'll take a 3 here. So we'll do 1 divided by, I'm going to go parenthesis, 1 divided by, and then 3 minus 7 is negative 4. So I'll put negative 4, close parenthesis, minus, open parenthesis, 1 divided by, and then 3 minus 2 is just 1. So that winds up just being 1. And that gives me negative 1.25. So that's negative. Here I'm going to plug in an 8. So I'm going to do 1 over 8 minus 7. 8 minus 7 is 1, so it's 1 divided by 1. That's just 1. Minus 1 divided by 8 minus 2. 8 minus 2 is 6, so minus 1/6. So I'll do parenthesis 1 divided by 6, and that gives me positive 0.83333. So that's positive. And so now I want, don't go to this. You got to go to the one that has the 0. You got to go to the one that has the 0. And that's what you have to use when you're doing your plugging in. You got to use this one, not this one. So now we're looking for less than or equal to 0. That's negative. That's here, less than or equal to 0. Now note, these are, I should have put these dashed lines in. We cannot include 2 and 7. So even though it says less than or equal to, we cannot or equal to 2 and 7. And therefore, we're going to go parenthesis 2 up to 7, close parenthesis, and that is our interval.